everyone. Satsangat Astrology. I am back with a new lunation, this time the new moon in Leo. I will take a look at the immediate moon cycle, but also its long-term effects. And I will place this lunation in the context of the Saturn-Uranus synodic cycle. So let's get started. Just before I start with the moon and I show you the chart, I would like to let you know that I am a tropical astrologer. So I follow the seasons, right? And I follow the cycles. I take a look at the chart as a part of a cycle. And there are cycles within cycles that we need to consider. It's not just this new moon isolated from everything else, but I see the universe and the solar system, which is our immediate universe, as an atom, right? Making part of a molecule, which it would be the universe, right? So what happens is that nothing happens in isolation. We need to consider all the factors that interact. Having said that, though, I will focus on just the major new moon aspects and influences. However, that's not everything. It's impossible to talk about everything, but I will try to make you feel, let's say, the whole context of it. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you so you see the chart as well. And here's the chart. I draw the chart with a whole sign house system, and also with the Aries rising, because this chart applies to the whole world. I am not talking about individual locations or anything like that. It says Austin because my software is located here in Texas, but this is not a particular location chart. It will apply to the whole world. So as you see, first of all, we have the highest number of fixed influence. So fixed signs are highlighted in this chart, which already gives you the sense that it is, so whatever is happening, it is a stubborn energy that doesn't want to move. And there is clashes because as you see, there's a T square to Uranus and Saturn. The ruler of the ascendants, of course, is always Mars. It doesn't matter because it is the world chart. It is also fire. The main energy is fire. And so it's fixed and fire. There's a lot of fire. So first of all, I took some notes. So this is the second of the lunations on the axis of Leo and Aquarius. We will have a second new moon. No, this is the first one. We will have the full moon in Aquarius and then another new moon in Leo at the end degrees. That will remind you of the great solar eclipse of 2017 because it is right about the same degree. So yeah, everything started in 2017, but we didn't realize it then. So anyways, we have the axis of Leo Aquarius, which is the axis, in fact, the grand cross of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio, it is the axis of the main elements, right? The main elements of the creation, the creativity of Leo. So in order to create something, we need then the Aquarius, the cooperation, we need the transformation, and we need the earth, right? Water. So this is why the portal, right? The Leo, the lion portal, as it is called, it is important because this new moon is midway, and the midway, especially in these signs, it is very important. Although it is not exactly at 15 degrees, but it is very close. So it takes a greater importance or a greater emphasis on the Leo sign, which is the 15 degree is the strongest, let's say, for the sign, whereas, let's say, stronger. Okay, so given that introduction, as every new moon, right, we have the sun, which represents our consciousness, and the moon, our subconsciousness, and together they give us a new awareness of something that gets started. However, it's again another false start because of Saturn on the opposite side. So in square as well with Uranus, even more closer than the opposition with Saturn, it awakens, right? This is a new moon of awakening, of realizing something. There is a possibility, a great possibility of receiving a revelation, something that we, eureka, oh, we got it, we understood it. Especially regarding our identity as human being, as a human being. So you may understand something about who you are, your place in the world, right? Opposite to Saturn in Aquarius, which represents the collective, right? What is your place in society? And there is also, because of the conjunction, even though it's about 6-7 degrees apart, but it's still a conjunction with Mercury, right? And because of this conjunction with Mercury, there is this need to express the self, the sun, right? Express and in a dramatic way, in a public way, in an instinctive way because of the moon. So there is this need to say what I need to say, and there is this dramatic impulse to express oneself, and especially express this sudden and unexpected and impulsive revelation triggered by Uranus, right? It will, this sudden revelation will dominate your mind, Mercury, right? All months long, and will in fact change your views on your life for the next 6 months until the full moon in Leo, which will happen in February 2022, which will be a very eventful month, I will say, because that full moon will have the sun conjunct Pluto, first of all, and also we will have in the month of February the conjunction Oh no, that's in April. Sorry about that, lapses. Okay, so there is with this new moon a new understanding of your identity at the heart level, right? How you feel that spiritual guidance inside, that the fire that you are, right? And this guidance that you receive from your self-love, in the deepest emotional needs for safety and protection, right? The moon. So, and you will be questioning, asking yourself probably, what do you love most? And that will awakening you to the purest and most essential self identity. So the mind, Mercury is so close to the sun that it will be what is called in astrology combust, or burned by the self. Some people call it the ego, although it's more of the self. And I would say the sun represents a kind of a higher self, that fire, that the spirit that gives us life, right? Because the love that gives us life. Because there is no creation, right? If there is no love. That is the energy that generates life. At least I emulate life with love. And you make your conclusion, what is death, right? So the mind is changed and transformed through the power of the sun, with revelations, with the light of the sun, the light of the moon, right? That is the sun is burning both the moon and the mind. So meaning that now the prevalent energy is the consciousness. So that's why I say, is it an awakening of the consciousness of self, self-awareness? So you will find or ask yourself, who am I in the context of the collective, who I want to be in society, and what do I believe in, right? And how do I feel in my own identity? So the Uranus in Taurus brings insight into nature and natural processes, the action and reaction dynamic, right? And we all of a sudden will come to understand that there are climate consequences to the human activity, as well as influence of science and vibrations, right? Because Uranus is the lord of vibrations, electricity, and how this vibration, this energy of electrical energy, if you want, influence the earth and nature. So it might be it might be the effect of electricity or other kinds of waves onto nature, and how those waves, for example, Wi-Fi or satellite emissions or any other kind of waves, how they affect the energy of the earth, and that could have an impact on nature. And it also, those electrical shocks or vibrations also affects the heart. So a square between Uranus and the sun can also give, palpitations or irregular beats in your heart and such, especially if your chart, if your birth chart already promises that kind of effect. Otherwise, as I always say, not all the transits will affect everyone in the world, except for the general, slow moving planets will show up in global influences that will affect everyone, but not every transit will affect you personally in a personal way unless there is a connection with your natal chart. But for this new moon, if you have a strong fixed sign in your chart, you definitely may feel the influence. And you always know that I do personal readings of several kinds. So if you like to contact me for a personal reading or a consultation of astrology, you can contact me. The contact information is in the description box below, and I will answer your email as soon as possible. You can also follow me in social media, and you will have the information in the description box below. Then Uranus, I was talking about Uranus in Taurus. It represents electrical waves and the power of energy and electricity, and how that influence or impact life on Earth, and also how it impacts resources and things that are natural processes. The other major aspect to this new moon is the opposition by 7 degrees, less than 7 degrees to Saturn. So Saturn in Aquarius is air, and Saturn is cold and dry, right? It shows the cold and dry reality of the collective, of society, and also the authorities as well, and also the coldness of traditions, the old ways, the stubborn old ways. And opposing this new moon will give great frustrations, discouragement, and also a false start, because this is a new moon that represents a new beginning. However, it is thwarted by this Saturn opposition that will give you delays in the start. As I said, it might really show the results by the full moon in 6 months, full moon in Leo. So it also represents, of course, the social restrictions, maybe probably lockdowns again, and it will give, I think, in my opinion, that if this new moon generates, for example, awareness on certain subjects that are hot at this time and generate protests, they will be subdued, and governments and social institutions will impose more rules. There will be measures against social uprisings and oppositions to the people, right? Because the moon is representing the people, the sun, the individual. So definitely Saturn is lack of joy. You know, Saturn is the old grumpy. um, and and there will be social inhibition or restrictions, right? So we may go back to something close to the lockdown from last year, or severe isolation measures, like you know, not being able to gather and groups of people, and that kind of thing. We already know. We have been trained for more than a year on those things. So it is unfortunate, but to some extent, I think that we need to use our common sense and our own sense of safety and responsibility as well, and understand that we need to protect ourselves and probably others as well. So there is this thing of the fixed signs. This is a fixed chart, and as I said, this new moon will be impacting the whole month, right? Until the new moon, the next new moon, which will also be in Leo, so, and opposing Jupiter by then. So we'll have 1 month or a couple of months of this kind of energy. So we have this energy of not willing to give in to power over our heads. So that will certainly awaken also struggles and probably dangers. Those in power may recur to oppressive or repressive measures, and people may be forced to submit one way or another, right? So the stronger the resistance, the stronger the reaction. So this is an energy that I stay here and I won't move, right? It's an attitude of stubbornness, and none of the three corners of this T-square will give in. And that will create the tension, but at the same time, the opportunity to give form to something new. And I will explain later on what that means. Now, authorities may justify their forceful demands or actions or measures to keep security and safety and the protection of the health and society. And also, for example, the healthcare system is already overwhelmed in many places in the world. So there is a need for a certain restriction, right? But it will generate greater resentment and opposition and resistance to these changes. Some of them may be showed or presented as innovation. You know, Uranus in Taurus wants to innovate, right? One of the major innovations has been the vaccine, other than the virus, right? So imposing yourself and trying to enjoy life will take lots and lots of effort, and most probably be delayed, not only for 1 month of this cycle or 2 months for the cycle of the next new moon, but I think it will last, the effect of this new moon will last to the full moon in August 2022, because by then that full moon will be in square to Uranus and opposition to Saturn at 19 degrees. So remember that this Saturn-Uranus opposition doesn't end in by the end of this year with the 3, direct, retrograde, and direct again, the 3 squares. In fact, they stay very close together for about a month next year in 2022. And the full moon in August, the full moon in Leo in August 2022 will be exactly square them. So we will see this kind of energy repeated and repeated several times for the next year. So this is an important lunation. It is not any other lunation, as the effects will be long lasting. So it will demand more discipline, obedience to the rules, and an increase of official laws and regulations, as I said. But one way out could be, when you go to a crossroad, right, and there are 3 cars, one in front of another opposition, and one crossing in a 90-degree square, right? The 3 cars cannot go at the same time. They need a compromise. They need the light, all right, the semaphore that will give way one, give turns. They need to take turns. So it's a compromise. Is not yielding completely to the other, but let's say I pass first, you pass second, the other pass third, and in different moments, there are different turns that are taken. So that also implies cooperation, meaning that otherwise there will be a crash. If the 3 cars want to go at the same time, there will be a crash. So if you and your personal life are affected by this new moon over the next year, I would advise you to measure your battles, right? And choose your battles. Which one goes first? Which one goes next? Because cooperation may help to overcome this tension, this conflict, this clash of energies. So compromise, cooperation, a little bit of yielding, and also balance with the Scorpio energy here. Scorpio is completing the grand square, the grand cross, I would say. And if you have any planets in Scorpio, you can use them for transformation, digging deeply into the decay, things that you are required to eliminate now that are already decadent, and gives you the opportunity to detox, to cleanse, to remove that decay. So meditate on that. It may help you, especially if you have planets in Scorpio. I also wanted to talk more about the Saturn-Uranus synodic cycle, because the synodic cycle around the zodiac is the context that you need to put this last quarter square between Saturn and Uranus, right? It is closing the cycle. Saturn is approaching Uranus, and they will meet again in Gemini in 2032. But the cycle started at the end here, at the end of Sagittarius, in fact, over the galactic center, which makes it really, it's a cycle that has an expansion of its own. But already Sagittarius, it is expansive. And it started in February 12, 1988, with the globalization. Also, I wanted to add that at the end of the third decan of Sagittarius is ruled by the sun, right? Is Leo. And the Egyptian term of the degree where they had the conjunction, in fact, it was 26, 27, 29 degrees, because it was hit 3 times. The second time was in June 26, 1988, and the third time, October 18, 1988. And if you're interested, you can draw those charts and see exactly where it was. So the Egyptian term is Mars. So if you combine Sagittarius, right, or its ruler, Jupiter, the sun or Leo, and Mars or Aries or Scorpio, you have that this globalization had a certain degree of competition towards prominence. And if you have observed history, especially economic history, throughout these, let's say, 40 years, that almost 40 years that had lasted so far, 3/4, you know, of the synodic cycle, the global competition has been fierce. And the actions taken had affected the whole earth, right? Especially because the indiscriminate exploitation, let's call it rape of the earth and the natural resources, disregarding the laws of nature, right? If you're going to work with nature, you better follow natural rules. Otherwise, I mean, you cannot function on this earth if you don't know how to work with gravity, for example. And there are so many essential basic rules that need to be followed in order to work with natural resources. And apparently we haven't paid attention to those natural laws. And that's the main reason why the earth went out of balance and is so disturbed and disrupted. So many natural processes are disrupted, and we have the increase of natural catastrophes that are, the water is completely out of control, the climate is out of control, and it is irreversible. We cannot go back now. There's no way the human life length, you know, span is not enough to fix this problem. It will take probably I don't know, millions of years, or at least thousands of years to repair itself. So nature has resiliency. However, the natural processes take time, right? It's not that you magically touch the earth with a wand and that will be healed. No, it is ill. The earth is ill, and we are ill with it. if you hadn't noticed. And it will take thousands of years to repair itself. And human activity has been responsible for the last 40 years, as I said, 30, 40 years of human activity, especially economic activity or exploitation of natural resources. So there was, at the start of the Saturn and Uranus cycle, there was this competition, this race to be better, to gather more resources, to exploit more, to go farther, wider, right? The international trade, foreign relations, trade agreements and international affairs were all competing. Who can do more, who can sell more, who can produce more, and who can consume more. All that has consequences, and from now on we will endure, let's say, the consequences. Is cause and effect. There is nothing mysterious about this. It's not God's wrath. It's natural consequences. It's that simple. That can be scientifically demonstrated and proven. So there is this powerful competition between those powerful nations that have the power to fight against each other or to compete against each other, right? So there was a frenzy to go more, Sagittarius, farther, wider, bigger. And now in this last quarter square, we are reaping and assimilating and receiving the consequences. So I would say that we need to consider that the struggle between Saturn and Uranus is that we are at the point where we need to accept that there has been a disturbance, right? Uranus in Taurus. And that Saturn is opposing to that disturbance, trying to keep the old ways, and Uranus says, well, it's not possible. Now we are in the boat and we need to, navigate as best as possible and see if we can save ourselves. So it is futile, I would say, to fight, trying to keep things the old way. They won't stay the old way. There's no way to go back. We need to adopt possibly radical changes that may include changing the way we eat, changing the way we use the earth, the soil, the natural resources, the water, the way we use the earth for our benefit, and give it more respect. Respect our bodies more, respect water more. There are things you may think, oh, well, I don't have any control of what the industries do. Well, it's true. The common folk don't have much of a say on what the big corporations do or the industries do. However, we have the money to, if you have the money to consume, then you can control those industries, those corporations, but not giving them your money. So if you don't consume, then you are not supporting what they do. And I think that's one of the littlest thing that you can do in order to contribute your small grain, of sand to the solution. Other things is respect water, revere water, revere water, revere water. That will be sanctify water. Hold water sacred in your home, wherever you use it, you drink it, you eliminate it. Every drop of water is sacred, and it has been always. So we need to give water the sacred place. And think about it, you are 70%, 80% water. So revere water is respect yourself, love yourself. Loving water is loving yourself. So, and I think that this new moon will show us that we need to love ourselves a little bit more. And loving ourselves is also loving the earth. So loving everything that you consume will give you this perspective. So little by little, with the opposition with Saturn, I think we can change our habits of consumption in order to preserve resources, preserve earth, and take care of it. Think, where do you put your money? What is it that you are supporting with your purchases? What is it that you are advocating for when you spend your bucks? So meditate on that, and I think you may add some more meaning to this new moon, and especially to this new moon cycle, the next new moon cycle in Leo, as well as the next, as I said, the next year, which will be the span of this cycle. So I wish you the best, and I hope that we can all together as a community and as a collective contribute to the betterment of our environment and the betterment of each other. So blessings, and this is all I wanted to say about this new moon. I hopefully, if you're interested in my work, I hope you follow me on social media and contact me for a reading if you like. We can go deeply into your chart, and I can share my insights about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.